let's talk about how to have a bigger faith and a better life. Well, I'm going to tell you guys, I've talked about this a little bit before, but there seems to be two extremes. On the one extreme, we have the faith world, the church world, the Christian culture. And in this world, it is all about God and Jesus, which is valid, but it's taken to such an extreme that we're just going to sit and pray and wait, sit and pray and wait, pray and wait, sit and wait. Lots of sitting, lots of waiting, lots of praying, not a lot of doing. It's all about, I'm just going to wait for God to show me, wait for God to help me, wait for God to save me. God's going to do it all. I'm just going to sit around. It's very passive and can be to the extreme that we don't do anything in our lives. And we miss out on what God is asking us to do. And we miss out on the responsibility we have in a practical way here on this earth. It can be taken to such an extreme that we miss out on that important part of the equation of what it means to be a Christ follower here on this earth. That's one extreme. And I know this is a massive sweeping generalization, but this is one extreme and you see it out there. But then we have the other extreme, and let's call this the self-help world. This is where it's all about personal growth, personal development, self-help, self. Help, me, what can I do for me? Hustle harder, run faster, read more books, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You run hard and fast, maybe probably ahead of God's plan, because let's be honest, you're not really slowing down enough to consult with God to begin with, right? Like you got things to do. You got boxes to check. You got ladders to climb. You're go. I'm going to be the best me I can be. And you miss out on the incredibly important spiritual aspect of the life you have on this earth and how your creator God can and wants to lead you in this life. So these are some extremes, right? You've got the faith world and you've got the self-help world. And I've noticed a trend where they seem to be at odds. Like they don't like each other. And again, it's not all the time and it's not every single person, but it's a trend. Like I will see people in the faith world post about the self-help world or personal development world with their nose turned up. Yeah, there's an air of condescension of like self-help. How about God help? Personal development. How about God development? Confidence. How about Godvidence? Right? Like you hear all these things like as if you're a bad person for wanting to do things in your life to improve your life. As if somehow you hate God because you have goals. Or you're not a person of faith because you're trying to get things done or improve your life or grow as a person or have a better marriage or have a better life or have a better career. That all of a sudden you don't trust God because you're trying to do something. But then you see this other extreme. You see the self-help world look at the faith world as if it's just all fluff. It's just, oh, you're one of those Christians, you're religious. Oh, and it's this attitude of like, you're passive, you're soft, you're not doing anything. And they look at that world negatively as well. And so each of these worlds tend to be at odds. The faith world, the self-help world, as if somehow these things are mutually exclusive. But I want to argue that they're not. I don't believe that the faith world is mutually exclusive from the self-help personal development world. I don't believe that you have to choose between being a believer and having goals, or being a Christ follower and getting things done in your life. You don't have to choose between that. In fact, I believe that God asks us to do both and have both, to seek God and have goals, to live out our faith walk and pray and get things done in the practical, tactical aspects of our lives. In fact, I think it's called stewardship. I think it's called being wise with what we've been given. Now, neither of us want to swing to these extremes where you're sitting on your hands praying and waiting and never doing anything with what God's given you to do. And you don't want to swing to the extreme of running ahead of God's plans and not consulting with your creator, who, by the way, everything is his anyway. But I believe there is this beautiful middle. I believe that there is this space in the middle where you can work like it all depends on you and pray like it all depends on God. where you can trust God with every aspect of your life and do your very best with every aspect of your life. Have you ever thought about that? That you can do both of those things? That you can trust God with every aspect of your life and at the same time do your very best with every aspect of your life. To my friends in the faith world, how much more impact could you make? How much more impact could you make in your family, in your life, in this world, in your career, in anything, if you were wise and strategic and intentional with setting goals, reading books, growing, having education, developing yourself, learning from people better than you, smarter than you, more wise than you, more strategic than you? How much more could you do what God's calling you to do if you are a wise steward of everything you have? Don't think of stewardship as just a money thing, but money, time, talents, the relationships you have, the responsibilities you've been given, that you looked at that as, I want to be a wise steward of these things. I want to do my very best with these things because they're God's, and I want to honor God with them in the practical, in the tactical, that I'm going to engage in personal growth, that I'm going to be wise with what I've been given, not despite honoring God, but in order to honor God with those things on this earth. To my self-help junkies, those of you that love to be go-getters, set goals, you're probably type A like me and you love to get things done. How much more of an impact could you make if you stopped running so far ahead of God and slowed down to seek Him for what He has for you? How much more could your ideas be His ideas, not just your ideas? How much better could those ideas be? You know, His word says that His ways are above our ways. His thoughts are above our thoughts. No eye has seen, no ear has heard, no mind has been able to imagine what He has for you. Do you know what that means? That when you rest on your own strengths and abilities, you can't do a lot. You can do some, but you can't do what God can do. You can't create in your life the things that He can create in your life. What if you slowed down and consulted with your Creator? Your Father that loves you very much, that says the plans that He has for you are good. Would you trust Him with those plans? Would you slow down enough to hear from Him? Would you quiet your world enough to listen for Him? Would you slow down your pace and your doing and your productivity to seek Him? How much more of an impact could you make if your life became not all about you and what you can do, but about what God wants to do in you and through you? I'll tell you, the times that doors have been opened for me, the times that I have had some of the coolest things ever happen in my entire life were never my ideas. Me working here at Ramsey Solutions, by the way, was never my idea. God called me here. Even the story of how my husband and I bought our first home 8 years ago, y'all, it's the craziest God story. I had been searching for houses, looking for houses. I'd been faithful with searching and researching and doing our homework. But our house that we got was more than we could ever ask or imagine back then. Your life is a lot different when it's the life God created for you and the life that God is in the process of creating with you. It's not either or. It's not we're just going to pray and wait and not do anything. And it's not we're going to do it all ourselves. I don't think either are correct. I think there's this beautiful middle that God calls us to. It is my vision for this show. It is my vision for my brand. It is my vision for my purpose on this earth is to bridge the gap between the faith world and the personal development world so you can have a bigger faith in God and a better life on this earth. It's not either or, it's both and. You're going to work like it all depends on you, and you're going to pray like it all depends on God, because I guarantee you, you're going to need both. That's what I believe God asks of us, and that's what I want to help you do. You know, I've shared this story before on this show, but I want to share it again because I think it's a great illustration. There's a tale that Dave Ramsey has told of a farmer and a traveler. The traveler is traveling along the road and he comes upon this beautiful farm. Like, it is exquisite. exquisite. It's got this perfectly painted fence that lines the beautiful fields. I mean, everything is immaculate. The farmhouse is perfect. It looks like something out of a postcard. And the old farmer is in the field and he's pulling weeds and he's working the farm and he's got his old overalls on and he's got his big hat on to block the sun and he's dirty and his hands are worked hard, you can tell. And the traveler coming up the road, he calls out to the farmer and he says, "Farmer, you have a beautiful farm. This is exquisite. It's immaculate. God has blessed you." And the farmer said, "Yes, sir, he has. And you should have seen what it looked like when he had it all to himself." What a great reminder. Yes, God will bless you. He can, and he will. And it's up to us to steward those blessings, whether it's with a farm, your time, your talents, your gifts, your relationships, your responsibilities, your influence, your money, anything and everything. It's up to you to grow and learn and be wise with what you've been given. Even in scripture, you see example after example how Jesus, when he did something for someone, gave instructions that followed. For the man that had been begging on the side of the pool for 38 years, Jesus healed that man and said, "Get up, take your mat, and walk." To the woman who was about to be stoned for adultery, Jesus said, "Go and sin no more." Even before Jesus was going to the cross, when he washed his disciples' feet, he said after that, "And now you should wash one another's feet." See, there was always instructions after the healing. There was always instructions and responsibilities and actions for the people in response to the blessing that he provided. So Jesus can heal you, but it's up to you to get up, take your mat, and walk. Jesus can save you, but it's up to you to go and make better choices. Jesus can love and serve you, but it's up to you to love and serve others. We have a responsibility in this life. It's not in opposition to our faith. It is an outworking of our faith. You need to work like it all depends on you and pray like it all depends on God, because I guarantee you we're going to need both.